Verse by verse meditations. Genesis chapter 5. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 5. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. Spoiler alert, there will only be two men that will exceed this number of 930 years. As Adam never experienced childhood, I like to believe that Adam had the capacity to be the oldest man to ever live, even though numbers say otherwise. Alas, regardless of however long he did live, he would eventually die. David, in speaking to Solomon, would say this before his death in 1 Kings chapter 2 and verse 2. I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and shew thyself a man. I am always fascinated by the fact that young men that have never smelled a quarter of a century live their lives as if they will never die. These young fellas are not afraid of anything, and they are not afraid of anyone. In fact, they're not even afraid of God. I've come to a realization that students that are not afraid of me, that is, students that don't respect me, they find it very hard to follow my rules. So if you're not afraid of someone, you don't want to listen to them. Paul, in listing these sins in Romans chapter 1 and 30, notice which sin is included here. Backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents. Could you imagine how those of us that do not have a healthy fear and respect for our parents would live? We will live our lives based on our own rules. Men and women that do not fear God will do whatsoever they will without any fear of consequences for their actions. If you're not following God, God is the God of the living, then you can only look forward to one thing. This is what the thief would say to the other thief in Luke chapter 23 and verse 40. But the other answering rebuked him, saying, Dost thou not fear God, saying thou art in the same condemnation? There were two dying thieves on the cross. One lived and one died. The one who came to know the God of the living heard those words, Today thou wilt be with me in paradise. Because Jesus would say in Mark 12 and 27, He is not the God of the dead, but the God of the living. Ye therefore do greatly err.